The brothers kicked their horses and got moving a little faster, and poor Hans was left behind in the dust again. The brothers, off in the distance, thinking about history and dictionaries, and as they were sitting there, there come from the distance Hans again, riding that donkey just as fast as he can. And he catches up to them and says, "Brothers, brothers, look what I have found." It's like, "It's a rock, Hans." "It is not just any rock. Look at this. Look at it. It's covered in crystals. It sparkles in the sunlight. It looks like a snowball. It's amazing." And there, it's a rock. Throw it away. Nobody cares. Well, the brothers left Hans in the dust again, kicking their horses and getting away from him as quick as they can, and they get to the lineup, and the lineup, oh my God, the lineup just goes on and on and on, and they get in the line, and they're waiting their turn. And they wait their turn, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait. There's a huge lineup, and as quickly as people go in, people come out. In, out, in, out. They're thinking, wow, must be some pretty lame competition if they're going in and out that quickly. Finally, the first brother has his turn, and he's up at the front of the line. He's up at the front of the line, and he goes in. And inside there's another line, not as long. And the guy in front of him is just being dismissed. And he goes up to the front, and just as he's going up to the front, his other brother gets led in behind him. And he gets up to the front. He says, "Oh my God, it's hot in here." And the princess says, "Yes, I know. We're cooking chickens for supper." And he looks at her, and he tries to say something clever about the dictionary, and he tries to come up with a word for chickens, but it's really hot, and all he can say is, "Wow, it's hot in here." And the princess says, "Next!" Because he repeated himself. And he's being led away. The second brother is coming up. And he didn't hear any of what transpired, so he gets up to the front there, and he stands in front of the princess, and she's so beautiful, and he's overtaken with her attractiveness and how hot it is in the room. And he says, "Man, it's hot in here." And she says, "Yes, I know. We're roasting chickens for supper." And he says, "Really? Chickens? Boy, it's hot in here." And he can't think of anything to say about history or anything. And the princess says, "Next!" And he's being led out, and the other brother is led in front of him, and there's some guy just on his way in. But as they open up the door to let the brother out, here comes Hans riding his donkey in through the outdoor. And he rides his donkey in past his two brothers and just jumps off right in front of the poor princess, and she is just flabbergasted. "Who are you?" He says, "I am Hans Clodhopper. Pleased to meet you." He says, "Boy, it's hot in here." And she says, "Yes, I know. We're roasting chickens for supper." And he says, "Chickens, eh? Well, you don't have to make one for me. I brought my own." And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out his dead crow. And she looks at him and says, "How are you going to cook that?" He says, "Oh, I've got a pot," he says. And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out the broken shoe and he jams that dead crow into the broken shoe. And she says, "It's going to taste awful." He says, "No, it won't." And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out this rock, and it's all covered with these white crystals, and he says, "Salt." He starts grinding the rock, and the salt is falling off of it. "See, I'm ready." And she says, "Okay, I'll marry this one." And her father is like, "What? Seriously?" He passed the test. He said 3 intelligent things in a row. without repeating himself. I'll marry this one. He makes me laugh. I like him. And the two brothers are like, what? Seriously? And she's like, yeah. We'll have the wedding next week. Hans, stay for supper. Well, Hans Clodhopper became the prince when he married the princess. And eventually, when the father died, he became king. Hans wasn't really good at math. He wasn't really good at a lot of things. And when he became king, they called him Hans the Stupid. But after a while, Hans wasn't good at math. So he never raised the taxes and he never ripped anybody off. He just never got around to it. It never struck him as interesting. He was very polite and he got along with everyone and he never went to war. He started off calling him Hans the Stupid, but they eventually started calling him Hans the Good. He was probably the best king they ever had. And his kids grew up to be just like him. That's the story of Hans Clodhopper. I hope you enjoyed it.